usually دائما بنخلي أجمل شيء لآخر شيء. مستعدين؟ نختم يومنا بأجمل جلسة. حيكون عندنا حوار ملهم. صوت يا جماعة. Please, quiet. Kindly. Thank you so much. Okay. حنختم يومنا بحوار ملهم، حوار رائع يجمع جميع رؤساء ICF chapters للمينا chapters. كوتش عبدالستار ممكن تتفضل أنت أول واحد بما أنك الهوست. كوتش شيماء من مصر رئيسة ICF مصر. كوتش سونيا دامك رئيسة ICF تونس. كوتش منال دوهاني رئيسة ICF المغرب. كوتش فرندا رئيسة ICF الإمارات. وكوتش غادة يارد رئيسة ICF لبنان. أخيراً وليس آخراً الكوتش مليحة الفودري رئيسة ICF الكويت. أهلاً وسهلاً بكم جميعاً في الجلسة الحوارية. طبعاً ما شاء الله تبارك الله عددنا حيكون مرة كثير، وآخرها كوتش سعود العمير المحاور للجلسة.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأسعد الله مساكم بكل خير, and thank you very much. And I think it is obvious that we have an issue with diversity and inclusion. So, and it is also obvious that the coaching community is being conquered by ladies. So, and we are very fortunate. So at least we make sure that one day, maybe our wives, daughters, maybe will be part of the coaching community. Good. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure for me. The good easiest thing Abdullah said, your job is only to ask questions. So, alhamdulillah, this is good. So today we are going to talk about how coaching can create impact for organization success. And this is our turn. So today we will have like 3 segments. So the first part we will talk about how to identify issues related to performance, and based on that how we design the development solution part of it, the coaching. And the third segment we'll talk about the impact, how we measure the impact of the coaching as a tool. Definitely, we have seen recently organizations have started adopting coaching as one of the main effective intervention for developing people. Coaching is not merely a remedy for issues related to performance, whether talking about people or organization performance, but it is also how to help successful organization to be more successful leaders to be more successful, and also successful individual to be more successful. So today we are going to know how coaching and L&D professionals can adopt and benefit from coaching in their organization. And the first question, and I would like maybe to this question to ask Coach Chaïma about how do organizations look at coaching to develop their people, and how to position coaching as a development intervention and methodology. Coach Chaïma.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the Saudi chapter to invite us to such amazing and meaningful event. And thank you for the hospitality and for everything. So for me, along my work experience, so I can see now coaching in a different situation. It's not only, it's, wow, it's great to have coaching in our organization for exclusive levels of executives, C-suites, for elite people. Yet, coaching are embedded in all levels of organization. And if you want to have a very powerful, transformational organization journey, what are you gonna ask for? Coaching. Because it's not only about the training now. It's about a very critical and powerful methodology to go through a growth journey within your organizations. Within your organization for the different levels, for the team, and for the systems. If you want today to create a very powerful teams, departments, you just go for coaching to give them the ownership to be involved in the decision-making process. So now we are not following the top-down directive approach. It's a flat management. It's a co-creating journey for the decision. So everyone have the ownership now. If you want to have a very critical leadership, just go to the coaching. Within uncertainty, tough times, organization and big organization looking for coaching to have a healing process within the ecosystem of the organization. So, to not take time, if you want to have power, for me, coaching equal power. Power in organization and empower your team within the organization. And as per the ICF research and studies, about 96 percentage it's within the organization, they have a very transformational process and they are higher performance for the organization and the employees just by coaching.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach Chaïma. I will go to Coach Manal if you have something you'd like to add the same question. How to position coaching as a development methodology?
Thank you so much. I'm really glad, and I would like to thank once again the whole team of the chapter, especially with the leadership of Coach Saud. So if I refer to our 20 years experience within the Moroccan chapters, that was the first chapter recognized in the MENA region. So, and also to my personal experience in corporate and life coaching. So there was a remarkable evolution in the way coaches, or say coaching, has been perceived within organization. This evolution is based, of course, on the acceleration thanks to the COVID, the VUCA and BANI context, but also thanks to the needs and the challenges that all corporations faced during the last 20 years. We started in Morocco and also the Maghreb region, I believe, as everywhere in the world, to see coaching being performance, or let's say effective, in three main fields. So the talent and people development, the leadership framework, and the performance leading and let's say creation or co-creation value in organization. So in one word, we can say that coaching today is no longer a personal fix, but it is an organizational and intergenerational muscle to build human sustainability.
Thank you, Coach Manal. Coach Franda, if you want to maybe add something to how to position coaching for development.
Yes. No, really, when I think about, when we talk about positioning coaching, I think the best way to position coaching in an organization, to keep it simple, is simply to make coaching not a conversation, but a true process. So not just we're going to have a conversation and talk about how you're feeling and what's your next steps or whatever, but a true process that goes from the beginning of knowing this person and getting this person to help to know themselves. Yes, in an organization, but even more so right here in their own heart, right? Because if they start there, then it benefits the organization. So when we talk about positioning coaching as a developmental methodology, let's position a conversation that helps the person to grow. And that to me is the best start.
Thank you, Coach Franda. Now we will go to the first segment. In training, we use the terminology TNA, training needs analysis. So we think about the training as an activity or maybe a kind of intervention. In coaching, I would rather use PNA. So what is PNA? Performance needs analysis. So our focus is not on the event by itself, but to improve the performance. And the first segment today will talk about what tools can we use to identify what gaps organization have, and especially related to people and organization performance. And I will start with Coach Sonia. So if you tell us about what effective tools organization can use to identify performance-related gaps.
Thank you, Coach Saud, and thank you again for the ICF Saudi chapter for inviting us. We are really glad to be part of this fantastic event. So let's agree on something. Accurate identification of the gaps of development is the very first step of every coaching contract. And when we are clear on the identification of these gaps, we are gone for a very good coaching path. So in terms of tools, actually, there are so many of them. When we are trained in coaching, we get to know some of them, and we discover some others on the way when we are practicing coaching. But I'm gonna focus on 3 of them. First one is 360-degree feedback. Second one is the personality assessment tools, and we know some of them, like MBTI or DISC or NOVA or any kind of personality assessment. And third one is the performance feedback based on the annual review in organization. So the 360-degree, of course, is a tool that help the executive or the coachee in the organization to be clear on how he or she is perceived by his peer, his manager, any stakeholder, internal or external, he is interacting with. And by doing so, we are set for a very clear objective to work on in our coaching sessions. So let me give an example. A leader who is perceived or who is perceiving himself as a good communicator, and when he does 360 degrees and his team think that he is not, he definitely has to work on these skills. Second one is the personality assessment tools, as I said, like for example DISC. These tools evaluate behavior, and when it comes to behavior, of course, the coaching is there to address any gaps of behavior, to develop ourselves to be more effective in the organization. And the third one, which is used by the whole organization, and I'm having 2 lives actually because I'm working for an organization. This is absolutely important because when you are setting clear goals with your manager and you are doing reviews on a regular basis, this tool is really very powerful because when you are part of a coaching exercise within the organization, you see exactly what should you work on. So in general, just to sum up, when we use one of these tools, we don't use it without like having a clear strategic way of choosing which tool is the best for the coaching contract. So we have to use the tool that helps us like address the clear development gaps and work on them through all the way within the real organization objectives.
Thank you, Coach Sonia. So definitely you mentioned something about 360 is how others perceive the behaviors of a specific leader or individual. You also mentioned about the psychometric or personality assessment and maybe the performance appraisal. So definitely these are good. The other thing, and maybe I will go to Coach AbdulSattar. One of the challenges we faced when we first started promoting coaching in our organization is how to get our top management believe in the buy-in in coaching. How to make sure that, because normally coaching is started as like a life coach. So you coach people to be maybe better in relationship, better maybe in career. But when we talk about organization success, definitely the success of the coach and an organization, it depends totally on the buy-in we get from the top management and their confidence that coaching will help in the performance of their people and also the organization.
Sure. I want you to imagine with me, it's Q4 of the year. Sales is down. The company is not doing well. People are not engaged. What do people need and what do leaders need? Usually what happens is that leaders look into what? Return on investment, sales. I have stakeholders. I have those big people who are saying, you know what, you need to make money. It's the stock market, correct? So, the first thing which I believe in, and I always go back to Peter Drucker, which says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Every country, every company, every organization has its own culture. So the first thing I would focus on is build the culture within the company. Does the company believe in culture? Does the leader believe in culture? So that's very vital and important to make sure that your leader believes in the culture of coaching and that coaching can actually build the company and enhance his, strategy. Number two is sit with the leader. If you're a company, if you're a group of coaches, and talk from a strategic perspective to understand what is the strategy and to link it with the following. How can I enable the business? Number one. Number two, how can coaching develop leaders to drive the transformation? Because we need transformation. The company is transforming. And use data as evidence. An example from Gallup. Coaching boosted engagement by 20 points, so that's an increase. I come from market research, so I use data always. Coaching actually increased sales and profitability by 29%. Didn't we say that leaders look into sales and profitability? Show case studies, early wins through KPIs, retention decrease, leadership behavior shift, how people or how your leaders have actually shifted. Finally, speak their language. You're talking to top management. What is their language? Their language is return on investment, improvement from X to Y percentage. Talk financially, talk strategically to them, because if you use their language, they would understand. If you don't, they would definitely push back coaching and say, you know what, it's one of those things that would just come and go, but if you speak the language, they would understand it. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach AbdulSattar. So definitely, you ended with speak their language. And for business leaders, the language is the performance, the bottom line. So if we speak that language, definitely that will. Coach Maleha, I know you are not only leading the coaching in Kuwait, but you are also business leader, and you have worked with successful organizations in Kuwait to develop their performance. So if Mana maybe share also something about how to get the buy-in of the top management.
Thank you, Coach Saud. Thank you, AbdulSattar, for the great summit. If you are a leader in this room, what I'm about to say is not for you. You are here because you believe in coaching, so it's not for you. You already believe in coaching. From 32 years in government and oil sector, I dealt with many types of leaders. There are three types. Either they are work-oriented or people-oriented, or they want to market themselves internationally. When I wanted to start the coaching culture in oil sector in Kuwait, I sent a memo to the CEO of Kuwait Corporate Institute, company that's responsible for 8 companies and 20,000 employees. I told him I want to present the PRISM Award for the oil sector. And I was working in the Kuwait National Petroleum Company. I didn't mention I am a team leader in KMPC. I am a president, and I want to present. Now, I don't know what's his type, the CEO of KPC. I mentioned in the memo, it's good for engagement. Maybe he is people-oriented. It makes a profit. Maybe he is work-oriented. And it will market Kuwait Petroleum Corporation internationally. Maybe he wants recognition. And he called the 8 companies with all leaders for the presentation. And what he mentioned in the presentation, why we didn't know about it, I want the 8 companies to apply for the PRISM Award. Now, he is typically want marketing for the international recognition. Now, it is very important to know the language that you speak to the leader. Don't miss types. You will waste all your efforts. Talk numbers and profits to the work-oriented leader. And talk people, engagement, happiness to the people-oriented leader. So this is the most critical thing, is to convince a leader. Anything else is easy. The steps is easy. But for a leader to be convinced and invest and believe, and I still remember our doctor in RCSI, he said, please don't market coaching for money. It is ethical to take care of your employee. Every organization, they have values, care for people. We care for people. Now, coaching culture, walk of the talk of caring for people.
Thank you, Coach Maleha. Thank you very much. I think it's also good to get some examples of how organizations use coaching and have adopted coaching to develop the people. And maybe Coach Gahda can share us some examples.
Before I share some examples, I'd like to ask you a question. So who here thinks that we live in a fast-paced world where everything changes very quickly? Okay. Who here is sometimes uncomfortable with the change? Okay. Who here is part of an organization where there might be different generations coming into the workplace? How many of you have seen the clashes that might happen when different types of employees are mixed together. Okay. And who here believes that whenever we need this change to happen, this transformation to happen, we don't always have the tools to do it. So we might have the knowledge, but we are all living in a system. Even if you're not the new generation, even if you're not the high-profile member of the team, you still need to work with this system. And coaching is for those situations. So instead of talking about examples, let's just look at how many fingers were raised. And if coaching can answer one of those needs that you have showcased, then those are as many examples of how your organizations can actually benefit. Even if we don't feel personally that we need to be coached, even if we are doing very well in terms of number, what if we are not having a good retention rate? What if our employees are not very happy? What if our new generations cannot find their places? What if those high-profile people or emerging leaders are struggling connecting with the rest? Those are all examples where coaching can truly help.
Thank you, Coach Gahda. And maybe let me just also share an example of how to get the buy-in of leaders. 2 weeks ago, I was approached by one of the semi-government entity, and the CEO of the organization, he started talking. He said, I have a very strong team of leaders. I am proud of them, but I have some issues related to some of the individuals. So I need to know how coaching can support. I started talking coaching. At the end, I said, by the way, coaching is not only a remedy for problem related to performance, but it also helps a successful leader to be more successful. So it's not about helping people to be, but it's also helping successful. And he said, by the way, in this case, I want to make sure I will be the first one to sign in for this one. And he signed in the program, and we put him in the list. Last week, Coach AbdulSattar and myself, we did the orientation. He was there. He was very enthusiastic for the program, and we started this week doing the assessment. So that was the first segment, is how to identify issues related to performance. And therefore start promoting coaching as an effective issue or executive maybe tools to help this one. Now we will go to the second step of this one, is how to design the intervention. I would say the coaching journey, how we design this one. So this is the second, and I will start with Coach Manal. When we design an intervention, a specific intervention, what input should we take in consideration when we create this journey, development journey, including coaching?
Thank you. Yes, and indeed, the key word is a journey. So I would like to share with you something that one of my mentors shared with me one day during our first mission in the coaching and leading transformation within an organization. And I was bothered by the amount of resistance that were in every workshop to prepare the design, and every interaction, every trial to go to the design of this mission. And he told me one thing that really stayed in my mind. A resistance or resistancy is the key, let's say, the key point that is proving that the ecosystem is living and that the change is going. So it was like a trigger to open new consciousness and awareness windows in my mind, in the whole team, to lead this transformation within the leaders and also the final users. Because to design a coaching mission, it is important to take in consideration two items. The first one is, of course, the compliance to the ICF for us, ICF standards, and all the ethical and compliance in terms of practice, and also in terms of values of the mission. But the second block is related to an alignment, a pre-alignment with the commandator that are asking for the coaching mission in terms of the strategic level of the mission. What are the business or the business priorities, the core values? They are they sticking to the individual values of the team that are involved in this project? The second thing is the maturity in terms of leadership and the willing of the organization in terms of culture. Is there are they ready, in one word? And also at individual level, and that's perhaps the most important, because coaching, and especially in organization, is about human being self-awareness. So does it respond to my what's in it for me or not, in order to make me committed? The last thing is that even if we have all those, let's say, enablers, so the compliance to ICF standards, the second block that is the layers of diagnosis related to the purpose of the mission. But the third one, which is not the least important, that is the insight that we can gather from the field. And sometimes a shadowing is also relevant to plan for a mission, a pre-shadowing, or let's say a preview shadowing, to make sure that we are in the right way, and a post-shadowing, sometimes with a survey, an online survey, ideally anonymous, in order to gather the insights from the final user.
Thank you, Coach Manal. Coach Gahda, if you maybe have something else you want to clarify on this one?
So I think that the most important thing that Manal has said is that coaching is a journey. So let's not aim for perfection. Let's just aim for progress. And let's always be aware of all the items that need to be taken into consideration. The readiness, and also let's be able to assess the real need. And sometimes the need might lie underneath what the request is. So they might be requesting as an organization to be more innovative, but maybe the need is for more psychological safety for a team to be able to do that. So this was...
Thank you, Coach Gahda. When we design the coaching journey, and sometimes some organization, or especially talking about the people in the HR and in the leadership development, they might design a whole journey that may take maybe 1 year or maybe even beyond that. And they get excited. They said, we want to go, maybe we want like 10 coaching sessions for every leader. And maybe around the middle of the journey, we might lose the momentum, people lose the commitment, or maybe the interest. So the question, and I will start with Coach Chaïma, how to sustain people's commitment throughout the journey?
Okay, so you need a very straightforward answer. It will be coaching itself. So simple. Because if the organization, the teams, because people here could be teams, department, or could be only one employee or group of employees. If the organization, the people, as you mentioned, and the coach believe in the power of coaching, starting with the end in their mind, so they will be a very sustainable commitment. And let's agree that at the beginning of the coaching session or the coaching journey, there is a spark the first part that motivate the coachee, and coachee here could be a team or an employee, here the flame will start. And with the continuous motivation, we will have the flame, the fire still burning. And to have a sustainable commitment, first of all, we have to create a psychological safe space from the organization and from the coach to the team or to the employee. Why psychological safe space will make the flame burning, the fire still burning, because when you feel safe, you will start to be open. And with every time you open, you will start to have clarity for the vision. When you start to have the clarity of the vision, we will go beyond the why of why we are here within the coaching journey. Here you will start to be aligned with your aspiration as an employee or as a team or as a group of employees, to be aligned with the vision and the mission of the whole organization. And this will make you more committed. When you have clarity, you will be aware of your values, and here you will align your values with the organization values. Here, the commitment and the motivation will be a bit higher. Other thing is make the progress visible. Why? As per the ICF, small wins need to be visible for the teams or the employee. Why? Because we are human beings. Leaders, C-suites, executive, we are human beings. When you touch our emotion, seeing our small achievements, this will keep you motivated to continue your coaching journey. Other thing is the integration of support system from not only the coach, from your peers, from your managers, and from the top leaders. This will make people more motivated, more committed. And here we can see the flame. I see the flame, I say many times the flame. So psychological safe space will keep the fire burning. Then your sense of ownership, because I'm here, the leader. Even if the organization is the sponsor, the teams and the employee are the leader. This is my own journey, and the sense of ownership will fuel your motivation and keep you committed. Other thing, the support system, this will be the shield that will protect the fire, the flame, to keep you committed. And actually, there is a model here that it's 70, 20, 10. 10, it's what happened during the coaching journey. 10% of what you have learned is what happened during the coaching journey. But what will keep you committed is the 20%, which is the support that you receive from your peers and from your organization. The 70 will be the skills that you have learned, or the coaching transformation that happen that will be applied every day, and it will a long-lasting process of commitment.
Thank you, Chaïma, and thank you very much for collaborating, because I think this is very crucial. When people pay for coaching, they will commit. But when it's paid by the organization, they need to see the value. They need to see the outcome. Not only the individual, but also their organization to keep this one. I would like also to hear from Coach Sonia, if you have something, also other tips to add to this.
Yes, sure. To continue on what just Coach Chaïma said, actually, commitment is not, cannot be taken for granted. It is something that we have to nurture. We have to develop along the journey, as Manal said. I think this is a long journey when it comes to a contract of coaching in the organization. And within this contract, there are, let's say, 4 pillars: the coach, the coachee, the manager, and the organization. And every one of these 4 pillars has a role to play to sustain, to nurture this commitment. So let me summarize for me the role of each one of these pillars. The coach, of course, is there to accompany the coachees within the organization throughout the journey, and to help them, see the road by their own eyes, and then help them to celebrate the small progress, empower them. The coachee has to be autonomous, has to be the one that leads, as Chaïma said, and this is very, very important. I mean, he will fire up his flame all along the journey. The manager has to create this safe space and has to make the coachee feel good to express very openly his emotions, his fears, his challenges, etc. So this is very important. And the organization is there to show that, we are investing money, we are investing resources, not for nothing. There is a big objective, a big picture behind all this, and we are really aware of it. So when we, mix up all these 4 pillars, actually the magic plays, and the magic operates, and we have this commitment sustained throughout the journey, and we can empower our coaches and maintain their flame. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Coach Gahda, also, if you have additional tips how to maintain the momentum and sustain people commitment throughout the journey.
Just a small thing, and just adding to what they said so well, even the lack of commitment is a signal that the coach should use. It's a voice of the system that wants to emerge. So we say in ICF that the coach should be dancing with the client. So what is happening there? What needs to change? What needs to be addressed that hasn't been addressed for this flame to go on? It's not always for the coach to do the effort to maintain it. Sometimes we just need to pause and look, understand, be present, and try to decipher what is actually underlying this lack of commitment.
Thank you, Coach Gahda. And again, sometimes you might need to wait until the end of the journey to measure the impact and the effectiveness of the coaching process. But if we do this, we might be losing the opportunity to maybe change or add something to the process. So, Coach Maleha, the question, how can we measure the coaching effectiveness throughout the journey rather than waiting until the end of the journey?
There is many ways to measure effectiveness, or say return of investment. Now, it depends on which context you are using coaching. Now, for an organization, like, you can measure the performance, how much amount of the work the employee is doing, and after coaching, how much. The engagement, the turnover, you are coaching them for keeping their talent. How much ideas after coaching for innovation? So it depends. Now, you can measure before and after. And there is also return of values. That might take longer time. My question here, why there has to be a return for coaching? Why? It is helping, inspiring, supporting human being. In our culture, you are good as you are good for others. Why should I wait for return? Coaching, a process of changing mindset, it takes time. And this is very important. Like I had a conversation with the MCC coach, he's not here now, he's from India. He said, I applied for MCC when I was ready. I stayed 5 years in PCC when I felt I've changed. I'm a new person. I applied for MCC. It's not about training or 2,500 coaching sessions. So it's level. You want money, measure it, return for investment. You want values, return by values. Or how much was your happiness? How much your employee happy Saturday night? This is your culture. This is your culture in organization. How much they are happy? How much they are happy when they apply for a leave? And how much they are feeling sad when they come to work? This is your culture. You don't have assessment or measurement. Every one of us have a teacher he will never forget. She planted the seed, she might, 99% she will never see the leaves, but she believed. I had one when I was 14. I was writing poems and broken words. She said, Maleha, you are magnificent. Your poet is magnificent. I said, really? Magnificent? Then I participated in university in publishing my poems. I published my book, Poems. And after 20 years, I find a letter from her. And how much this is value, return of it, how much this can measure. So it depends. You want money? Magdalena, she clearly said in the 5 billion profit. It works. Coaching works. But the most beautiful, don't do it for work, for money, because you believe. I say for client, if you don't have money, I'll coach you for free, because my brain is happy from hormones to support others. I get return happiness supporting others. It doesn't have to be money.
Thank you, Coach Maleha. Coach Manal, maybe if you have something that you'd like to add, how to measure the effectiveness of the coaching?
Thank you so much, Coach Maleha, to bring the point to the human being happiness and well-being, because allow me to remind that where we are where we try to monitor or set up a measurement pre-aligned perhaps process to assess a mission, to bring or to design for the leaders in a corporation, KPIs, reporting, and all the key motivation, skilling per team, per silo, all those stuff are definitely relevant. But while we try to set up measurements, metrics, let's keep in mind that we are talking about a transformation, and that people inside the organization are living a three dimensions transformation in terms of relationship within themselves, within the other. It can be their peer, their managers, their team, and the organization itself. So perhaps we can have three, I will call them ingredients, to keep in mind when we are designing a metric or a way to measure coaching mission effectiveness. So the first one is the data. The second one is related to behaviors, and the third one is about purpose. So when I say data, what I mean is, what are the patterns in terms of RPS indicators, the mental health and the well-being of the employees is tracked and followed up or not? Is there perhaps a well-being cockpit or scorecard at the corporation level? When I talk about, when I think about behaviors, it means what are the foundations of the interactions, how the value creation is performed on a daily basis. Of course, are the employees happy to be together, to collaborate together, and what kind of leadership is leading this performance? And the third one, which is not the less important, that is the purpose. And when we say purpose, it's about the corporate value are sticking to my value system, or there is perhaps a gap, or there is a non-fitting, and sometimes it may be enough to make me not committed into a change, or perhaps creating some trouble for mission. Perhaps the last thing is that let's leave it for the next point.
Okay.
It's okay.
Just tell me whenever you remember. We have something into. I will go back to Coach AbdulSattar. AbdulSattar, you are not only an experienced and leader of coaching, but you are also, and this is something you have always been proud of, being a marketer and a marketing expert. And normally people in marketing, they observe the trends, they observe the behavior, they analyze people behaviors, and they always have some compelling and inspiring stories. So maybe you have some example or story you would like to share with us.
I have many. How many do you want?
We have 30 minutes, so we can accommodate 3.
Okay. Actually, this is hot from the oven and quite new. I was coaching in one of the ministries, and actually one of the top was saying, I have a manager, but unfortunately, this manager doesn't come up with new ideas. This manager doesn't give, creative ideas, unfortunately. And I think he's not the right person. Wow. I think he's not the right person. So I asked him, and this is what we do in coaching, I asked him, okay, how would you empower that manager? What would you do if you think he's not doing the right thing? He said, I don't think he's the right person. I said, okay, why do you still think he's not the right person? He said, because he's not asking the right questions. So I told him, what are the right questions? And that's where he said, I think the issue is within me, and it's not within the manager. Then the realization came, and that's what happens to us. We're all humans. He realized that it's my issue, it's not the issue of the manager, because I haven't been coaching him, I haven't been empowering him, and I don't want to say I haven't been telling him, because in coaching we don't tell, but you haven't been sitting with him and empowering him to ask the right questions. And that's where the spark, if I may say, changed, and he started actually to sit with that manager and to start asking him, give me examples. What should you do? What are you doing wrong? How can you empower more? How can you develop more? What about your team? So these different questions, and I've worked for different companies, PepsiCo, Unilever, Clorox, international companies, and I've seen more. And again, I would like to close with, the issue is sometimes when it comes to corporates, it's all about, again, what? The dollar sign. Did we make the sales? Did we not? And sometimes we lose the emotion. Sometimes we lose, are these people collaborating together? Are these people happy when they wake up in the morning and coming? You made a very good example when you mentioned, is he happy because he's going tomorrow on vacation? Or is he happy when he wakes up and comes to the office? So it's all about empowerment, and that was one of the examples that I wanted to give. Thank you, Coach Saud.
Thank you. Just a question. Maybe this is part of this, but as you said, you always started in your opening. I need to get maybe out of the context. To what extent, as coaches, do we need marketing skills?
Marketing. This is a bit touchy. Do you allow me? You're the CEO.
It's not a yes/no question.
Of course, yes.
To what extent do we need that?
I believe we do need it, and I'll tell you why. To a very large extent, I'll tell you why. What's happening today with a lot of coaching students, after they finish the 60 hours, 120 hours, they've finished, and then they realize in the first U-turn, I'm going to go back and I'm not going to continue. Why? Because of two things. Number one, he hasn't actually focused and decided what coach do I want to be? Am I a leadership coach? Am I a health coach? Am I a well-being coach? Am I an executive coach? So number one, define what you want to be clearly. Number two, which is very important, do you know how to market yourself and define your target audience? Because believe me, if you want to be mass, you can, but if you don't want to create your own differentiation and your personal brand, trust me, you're not going to grow. This is what I believe in as a marketeer. I hope that's fine with you. Okay.
Okay.
Am I still the president?
You passed. You passed, Coach Abdulrazak. I will go back to the effectiveness of the coaching journey, and I will ask Coach Maleha, when and how to stop the coaching journey due to the lack of effectiveness. So if maybe in the middle of the journey or at a certain stage of the journey, we notice that it's not working well. And what sign we look for to make sure that if we need maybe to continue or maybe stop the coaching, especially talking about coaching in organization. Coach Maleha.
Okay. Now I'll ask you, Coach Saud, when to stop caring, when to stop believing in people, when to stop working for their happiness and their goal and their mission in life or whatever they are searching. Stopping coaching, a stopping act of humanity. It is not a business. It is inside us. I'll tell you one story. When after the CEO established coaching culture in oil sector, I was heading that, and I have to do awareness sessions for all 8 companies, all leaders. And one of them, he came to me, he said, I have 250 employees. Shall I do my work or coach them? He was so angry. What's this assignment you are giving us? What you are broaching? We have full of agenda. Then I told him, do you see your people, these 20 people, do you meet them? He said, yes. I said, what about asking them instead of telling them? This is coaching. I'm not asking for extra session or extra work or extra assignment or extra time. Instead of these 200 people coming back to you, empower them, ask them to take care of themselves. If you are a leader, create a leader. It's a way of being, not doing. So I don't believe in stop coaching, because please take it as a process. It's a way of serving humanity. In our culture, we call it hasanat, supporting human being. So there's only one case you can, I'll not say waste time. With fixed mindset, when a leader come, he said, I know everything. He's not curious. He's not having a growth mindset. And let me give him excuse, because his mission, his identity to serve. He think when you stop this and start just ask people because you believe in them, you stopping his journey in life. What's the need of my experience if I'm not telling? This is the only one that you are dealing with someone who say, I know everything. I don't need anyone to tell me. I spent it 20 years. So that's the only fixed mindset. You don't really coach him or.
Thank you, Coach Maleha. So what I get from your, this is very insightful, by the way, Coach Maleha. Thank you very much. So tell less, ask more, talk less, listen more. Thank you. So the last segment of today's is we talk about how we measure the coaching engagement or the coaching journey. So what tools do we use to make sure that coaching is working well in the organization? And I will start with Coach Franda. So Coach Franda, what tools or inputs do we need to measure the effectiveness and the impact of coaching?
Thank you so much. And I forgot to say earlier, thank you for inviting me here from UAE. It's such a long flight, you know. But actually, first of all, thank you, Magda. First of all, when we're looking at tools and we're looking at effectiveness, I think we first have to look at how we start, right? I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful coaching practice. I'm that coach that organizations bring in when the organization knows nothing about coaching. Now, why do I get this opportunity? I don't know. But I'm that coach that will go to Tanzania and talk about coaching when I'm being looked at like, oh, you mean mentoring? You mean training? And I'm that coach that has to first start with creating a coaching culture, not in the organization, but in the mindset of the people that I'm talking to initially. Because effectiveness can never be measured if belief is not already there. Right? I could never say, let's look at these metrics, or let's look at this quantitative input or qualitative or whatever. I can't look at any of that if I sit in front of someone and just say, I'm going to tell you about coaching because coaching is a wonderful thing to have in an organization, and it will create very good well-being, and everybody there is going to be very happy, and they're going to want to come to work on Monday morning. Just give me a week, and I can make that happen. It's not going to happen. So if I use that as a measure or a metric for effectiveness, it's going to fail. And what I'm going to hear is, oh, see, I told you coaching wasn't good. I should train. So the first measure of effectiveness is the belief that it can be effective. And that has to be the start. Right? Because if there's no belief, then it's just an experiment. It's a psychological safety practice. But it's not really where you're coming in and saying, these are the transformations that we want to make. So I want to measure effectiveness first with the belief, and then secondly with seeing, to use your word, that journey. Because I can use metrics and I can use all types of assessments and peer reviews and all of that good stuff, but we all know that a peer review is only effective in the moment that you give it, right? Beyond that, yeah, I can do your review, but really, am I telling the truth about you if I know that it's not anonymous? If I do a 360, as you were talking about, if it's not anonymous, okay, I'm going to say that you're the greatest director and the greatest leader ever. But then I'm going to go back to AbdulSattar and say, you know what? Gahda, no. So effectiveness has to be something that could be sustained. And again, we can have measurements, we can have all of these other things, but the sustainability of it is, I come back a year later and I hear from the team, right? Not from the directors or whatever, but I hear from the team, wow, whatever you did made a difference in the person. And because it made a difference in the person, it made a difference for the team. And therefore now we have well-being. Now we have team leadership, true team leadership. Now we have a person that we know we can go to as a leader and they hear us because they heard you. So that's one way.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach Franda. And I think this is a statement we should end up with, that we have to believe that coaching works. So as in aviation, they said you need to trust your instrument. I think we also need to trust the methodology. In just 20 seconds, no more, one message. How do you see the future of coaching organization? We start with Coach Chaïma. How do you see the future of coaching in organization? Oh, yes.
Okay, for me, the future of coaching, it's simply coaching. It's not anymore just a service. It's a skill for all the leaders of the organization. And as we are saying, it's a culture. And for the culture, it needs to be aligned with the transformation, aligned with the now and the future. So I can see that coaching is aligned with the 2030 vision, with the SDGs through different methodologies and models that align with the needs of the future. Coaching could be blended with the AI just to respond to the need of diversity. Now we are saying coaching have special models or it serves the inclusion. But for me, the upcoming is to serve the neuro-inclusion workplaces.
Thank you, Coach Chaïma.
Thank you.
Because Sonia, you have only 5 seconds because she has taken
Sure.
15
Yes. Okay, how do I see the future of coaching? I see it bright. For me, coaching is a real lever for sustainable transformation. So I see a bright future for coaching, and this is good news for all of us.
Coach Manal?
Thank you. So how do I see the future of coaching? So perhaps despite all the measurements and metrics that may secure us like coach in terms of process and leaders in terms of return on investment. But let's remember that the future of coaching is about us, because when we go in a company or organization, we bring a piece of our soul, our heart, our life experience. So let's remember that we are أواني الرحمن نسقي ونسقى. اللهم اجعلنا أينما حللنا نكون رحمة للعالمين. That's it.
Thank you, Coach Franda.
So in brief, how do I see the future of coaching, particularly coaching in organizations? The way I see it, the way I would like to see it in the future is it doesn't have to be a conference about it. It's a conference about the results, not a conference about how to get it there. That's how I see it.
Coach Gahda?
I would go with Sonia. I would see the coaching as bright and sunny weather. I think that as long as the humans want to evolve, there is a need for them to be supported in this transformation.
Coach Maleha?
Well, I'll see the future of coaching based on a verse in Holy Quran before 1,400 years. What is your thinking of Allah? coaching question. How you are thinking? Coaching question. Actually, I'm writing all the coaching question in Holy Quran. Our God asked us a coaching question to raise awareness. It was before 1,400 years, and it will remain after thousands and thousands years.
Thank you. Coach AbdulSattar.
Okay, I love talking numbers. If I'm not mistaken, Magdalena today morning said, I think coaching is worth about 52 billion. Five, yes. With a B, billion. So that proves that coaching is growing. So in one word, it's growth.
Coach Chaïma, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Please.
Because we shared a lot now, and I got inspired with all the words. So I can see now coaching is a human movement for evolution.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the end of our segment, panel on the coaching and organization. And I think we all agree that the coaching, especially in organization, the kingdom has taken an importance. Now we see entities, private and public and other sectors, they have started use coaching and this one. So if you have invested in bringing coaching in organization, you have taken the right decision. If you have invested in yourself as a coach to provide coaching services for organization, definitely you have taken the right decision. And we appreciate the efforts that have been by the ICF to focus and also put more efforts in coaching in organization, which has been very successful. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of yourself, on behalf of also the United Committee, I would like to thank all the panelists for their time. Thank you.